And Dr. Chaudhary also has joined. Okay.
Yes.
So with the permission of Chair Dr. Chaudhary, I would like to start this function with a warm welcome.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
With a warm welcome to each one of you, and my special thanks and acknowledgement to Dr. M.K. Sinha, Chief Engineer, Central Water Commission, who kindly agreed to the request from IRI to deliver this very important lecture on the World Water Day. Also, I'm really thankful to Dr. Chaudhary and welcome him heartily to agree to chair this session. Dr. Chaudhary organized a wonderful lecture in the morning from the Director General of International Water Research Institute, and after that he was in another session with us on training program in soil science, and we again have him to guide us through this particular important program which he is going to chair. I would also like to welcome my all colleagues. I can see Dr. D.K. Yadav, Dr. K.K. Singh, Dr. R.K. Singh, Dr. Dubey, Dr. Kailash Nathan. Many colleagues from ICR have joined. We are really indeed thankful to each one of you, all heads of the divisions, professors and scientists from the division, Dr. Kaur from Water Technology Center. I would like to welcome each one of you. And water, as you know, it is so important for our life. And you all remember the saying, Rahiman pani rakhiye bin pani sab soon, pani gaye na ubre moti manush soon. तो ये पानी की महत्ता हमारी संस्कृति में, हमारे रग-रग में बसी हुई है। इस कार्यक्रम के लिए मैं थोड़ा सा पढ़ रहा था और जब मैं जो पुराने ग्रंथों में, वेदों में पानी की महत्ता के बारे में वर्णन किया गया है, तो उसमें वैदिक हाइड्रोलॉजी का पूरा चैप्टर है। और वैदिक हाइड्रोलॉजी में वाटर कंजर्वेशन से लेकर के वाटर यूटिलाइजेशन, वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, तीनों विषयों पे बहुत ही वैज्ञानिक रूप से इसका विस्तार में वर्णन किया गया है। World Water Day started in 93. The decision was taken in 92 in the UN Congress. But the kind of importance that has been given to water in ancient Indian literature, I think probably somewhere we have missed recognizing this important day. Probably could have been much earlier if we see the kind of researches that have gone into water. I remember when we used to take when you start bath, and we were taught as a child to remember all the rivers, and there is a Sanskrit shloka, Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Kaveri Narmade Sindhu Jale Asmin Sannidhi Kuru. So when you remember these pious rivers, and when you take bath, you remember that you are having the water from each of these rivers, and their piousness, the kind of medicinal value they bring from the natural resources that they have in different regions, and that is combined in the water that you are taking for your bath to keep you healthy. That is the kind of importance. But unfortunately, in our day-to-day life, we don't give that kind of importance and price and value to water. When we take, you see, the morning we start with toothbrush. We are very careful in putting how much quantity of toothbrush we should, the paste we should put on the toothbrush. That is very minimal we put. But when it comes to water, the tap keeps running. Likewise, if you are putting shaving cream, you put a very small quantity, which is just sufficient to make enough foam for your shaving. Because you pay heavily for the toothpaste, you pay heavily for the shaving cream. The similar kind of example was given by Honorable Minister in the morning regarding the importance of water. And then water as a medicine, it has been described amply in the literature. And one of the proverbs says that Ajirane Vesisam Vari Dirane Vari Valapradam Bhojane Chamritam Vari Bhojanante Visapradam. अगर आपका पाचन ठीक नहीं है तो पानी औषधि काम करती है, उसमें पाचन हो गया है अच्छी तरह से तो आपको बल प्रदान करती है। खाना खाते समय थोड़ी मात्रा में पानी लेना वो अमृत के समान है, और खाना खाने के तुरंत बाद पानी पीना जो है विष के समान है। तो इतनी व्याख्याएं जो है जल को लेकर के हमारे धर्मशास्त्रों में की गई हैं, जितना शायद किसी दूसरे लिटरेचर में नहीं मिलेगा, और इसका बड़ा विस्तार में अध्ययन दूसरे लोगों ने किया है। तो मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि आज हम लोग वर्ल्ड वाटर डे के दिन यहाँ पर एकत्र हुए हैं और इस विषय पर चर्चा करने के लिए किस प्रकार से हम वाटर की वैल्यू को पहचाने, वैल्यूइंग वाटर, एंड particularly in relation to our planning to attain the sustainable development goal. That is the topic for today. The program, Dr. Man Singh has taken a lot of pain in organizing this lecture. I am thankful to him also. I welcome once again our chairman for this function, Dr. Chaudhary. And Dr. Chaudhary, as you all know, is Deputy Director General Natural Resource Management at ICR headquarters. He is winner of Rafi Ahmad Kidwai Award, Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. He did his studies from JNKVB and MPKVB Rahuri. And his current initiative on eco-regional planning, eco-regional crop planning for the whole country is an excellent initiative that will help farmers to double their income, economize their cost of production, and use the resources very efficiently. So I would like to welcome Dr. Chaudhary once again, and would request him to kindly take the proceeding further. Dr. Chaudhary.
Thank you very much, Dr. A.K. Singh, Dr. M.K. Sinha, the Chief Engineer from Central Water Commission, and all the senior colleagues from Indian Council of Agricultural Research, senior colleagues from IARI, faculty members, Professor Man Singh from WTC, Dr. Ravindra Kaur from WTC, and all the scientist colleagues and all those who are present in this very important program. Right in the beginning, I would like to wish you all a very, very happy World Water Day 2021, where in this theme is valuing for water or valuing water. It is very, very unfortunate that even after so many years after the civilization or evolution of mankind, now also there is a need to create awareness about water, and there is a need to sensitize people on water. Although water was existing even before man existed. And whenever there is expedition, जब कोई मंगलयान भेजता है या दूसरे ग्रहों की खोज करने जाते हैं, जीवन की खोज करने से पहले वैज्ञानिक ये देखते हैं कि उस ग्रह में पानी है क्या, उसकी चट्टानों की दरारों में कहीं पानी फ्रीज होता है क्या. अगर ऐसा है, ऐसी संभावना है, तो ही वहां पर जीवन का अस्तित्व हो सकता है. So instead of searching for life, first scientists prefer to search water. Such an important component. The human body, as per the Hindu mythology or philosophy, the Panchatattva, one of the important tattva is water. And that is why water decides the whole processes of human being, whether its dependence on crops, animals for protein or minerals, whatever it is. So whole life is being touched or defined or directed by water. Water is such an important commodity, and now it became more economic commodity. Now, morning we have heard the DG of International Water Management Institute. So he spoke so much about the ecological importance, economic importance, the societal importance, and we all know we are directly or indirectly linked with the water sector. And as per our philosophy, mythology, water was existing, and water therefore was considered as divine. It was considered divine by the Vedas. It is considered divine even in Quran. It is considered divine in Bible. It is considered divine in any other epics on this earth. And more so, the Vedas, they defined water as the purest form, and it was thought to bring peace, happiness, wealth, long life, and good health. All these things are written there, and we are taught right from our childhood. We are taught to respect water. to consider water as holy. In Vedic Suktas also, it is considered different forms of God, or water is worshipped in different forms of God, Indra Devata, Varuna Devata, Parjanya Devata, and many other forms. Even some rivers are also holy. Morning we have seen, there was a reference for Ganga, Yamuna, Narmada. Even one statement made, that is wonderful statement, that खून बह जाए तो कोई बात नहीं, लेकिन पानी का दुरुपयोग नहीं होना चाहिए, उसे टालना चाहिए. This was the statement made by our Honorable Minister of State in the morning. Also, he said there are some rivers, viewing, simply viewing, उनका दर्शन होने से ही your sins will be washed. आपके पाप धुल जाते हैं. गंगा में तो डुबकी लगाने से होगा, लेकिन नर्मदा जी के सिर्फ दर्शन हो जाए, उसी से पाप धुल जाते हैं. This kind of understanding, this kind of lessons are being taught to each one of us right from the beginning in this country. And therefore, it would be very unfortunate if one day we celebrate the World Water Day and remaining 364 days, we start abusing water or forget the water. So it should not be the approach. Every day is Water Day, and every time we need to think about how best we can conserve water, how best we can use water, how best we can use every drop of water. And to celebrate this important day, the Indian Agriculture Research Institute has organized this program. I'm thankful to the organizers for inviting me for chairing this important lecture, which will be delivered by Dr. Mukesh Kumar Sinha, the Chief Engineer in Central Water Commission. Dr. Mukesh Kumar Sinha is very well known face to many of us, and he has varied experience in all aspects of water. Water sector is such a big sector, no? It's very difficult to work in all the aspects and very difficult to cover all the aspects. But Dr. Sinha has very versatile experience, and he has been associated with whether planning, design, or detailed engineering of several water resources, and particularly the hydropower projects. His contribution in hydropower projects is immense. And river basin management, also he has contributed a lot. And in last 3 decades, he has worked in many facets of water sector. And he was member secretary of Indian National Committee on Hydraulic Research and also National Committee on Seismic Design Parameters for River Valley project. He was also one of the authors of the CBI published book on repair, renovation, and life extension of hydropower projects, and BMTPC publication on Vulnerability Atlas of India, which is very, very important from water point of view. He has held the post of Senior Joint Commissioner, Policy and Planning in Ministry of Water Resources, River Development, Ganga Rejuvenation very recently, and formulation and implementation of plan schemes and policies of Government of India on water resources. He was also worked as advisor for National Water Mission, which was launched as part of National Action Plan for Climate Change, with respect of water conservation and efficient use of water. As Chief Engineer of Project Appraisal in CWC, he has contributed towards techno-economic appraisal of major and medium irrigation projects and multi-purpose projects. He has played active role in drafting the National Water Policy in 2012, and then National Water Framework Bill in 2016, and Model Bill for Groundwater in 2016. He was also the director of Central Water and Power Research Station, supervising more than 250 applied research studies on various aspects of water resources, hydropower, ports and harbors, and also coastal engineering. As a member civil and member environment and rehabilitation, and lately as the executive member of Narmada Control Authority, he has coordinated and managed water resources of Narmada River Basin in the states of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan for ensuring compliance of NWTT award. He was the chairman of the expert committee on erosion and siltation in rivers and member secretary of the Ganga Desiltation Committee, which was set up by the Government of India. He was also the president of Indian Society of Hydraulics and chairman of the technical committee of International Standards Organization. So these are only few words introducing him. Actually, his contribution in whole sector is immense. And without wasting much time, I now invite Dr. Sinhaji to deliver his talk on the occasion of World Water Day on valuing water, prerequisite for achieving sustainable development goal. Dr. Sinaji, now the floor is yours.
Uh, Thank you, Director Irani and SK Chaudhary sir, for setting the tone on this very important day, World Water Day. Uh, Being a water resources engineer, naturally it is a very important day for me, and that is why when Water Technology Center approached me for giving a lecture on this thing, I immediately agreed, because being a water resources engineer, this is my privilege and honor to be associated and giving my thoughts on these very important aspects. In fact, we have set up an agenda for ourselves, that sustainable development goal, which is called Agenda 2030 also. We are almost approaching that. And the topic of this year, World Water Day, is very important, the valuing water, which is virtually a prerequisite for achieving the sustainable development goal. I will cover in later part of my lecture. In fact, when we listen this word valuing, it reminds of an economic terminology. We normally attach value in economic terms. And that gives me an idea of the famous Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In fact, in water resources sector also, save the slides. Next. Next. If you see on the left side, there is a economic theory of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and if you see on the right side, growth of perception on water in India, that you will see also has grown like that only, as in economic terms. Immediately after independence, we started with the basic physical needs, roti, kapra or makan, and our emphasis was on water supply, dams, irrigation. Still that emphasis was there, but during that time, the focus was entire water resources was focused on that. Next on, we moved to the next phase of development, that is Bijli Sarak Pani. So this where our focus, we focused on hydropower, electricity, Sarak, highways, and the water supply. And subsequently, we developed to environment. The country enacted Environment Act, and then environment rules, and then environment assessment was made mandatory for all projects, be it water resources project or any project. So such a emphasis was laid on environment and sustainability. And then we moved on to the basic pragmatic shift in the water resources approach, that we insisted for avirilta, continuity of rivers, nirmalta, cleanliness, and swachhta. So continuity and cleanliness became the buzzword of water sector. And now we have reached to the level of self-actualization, which our Honorable Prime Minister reminds us always, Atmanirbharta, river rejuvenation. The ministry itself is, the department is termed as Department of Water Resources, River Rejuvenation, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. So valuing water is very much inbuilt, and now we have this valuing water has come up as self-actualization for ourselves. Today morning itself, our Honorable Prime Minister has launched Jal Shakti Abhiyan also. This is the ultimate level of water resources, and I hope we're going through these steps. We are approaching closer to our Agenda 2030. That is a better future for, better and sustainable future for all. Water is a limiting factor. In fact, I will just give you this one very important study has been done by Shah and Kumar. They analyzed the data from 145 countries, that improvement in water situation of a country determines the progress in human development and economic growth of a country. I am just presenting the final results of that paper, that the gross domestic product, which indicates the economic well-being of any country, grows exponentially with the sustainable water use index. So if you double the sustainable water use index, you will get the GDP 4 times. And human development index, that is our main objective, that depends on the sustainable water use index also for the betterment, for the benefit of those who are not conversant with the terms. Sustainable water use index, it is a summation of 4 sub indices of water poverty index, water access index, and water use index, water environment index, and water capacity index. So it is a sum total of these various facets of water resources and our civilization, and all these have been clubbed, and that you see that how much sustainable water use has an impact on that. So it will be a next, that water is a limiting factor in our economic growth, and in fact all the data points out to this conclusion. With around 18% of the world's population, India has around 18% of the world's population. We have a very large cattle population also, but only 2% of the geographical area and 4% of fresh water. So with this dimension, we have already reached faces a scarcity of water, and which is vital and stressed natural resource. In fact, all of you must be aware about water, food, energy nexus. So water, food, and energy all are interlinked, and in that perspective also water is very key word for the, for both for ensuring food security, energy security, water security, and which ultimately demands the national security. In fact, I had the privilege of associating in drafting of National Water Policy in 2012, which was approved by National Water Resources Council, comprising of chief ministers of all states and headed by Prime Minister of India. There was a lot of debate on valuing of water pricing. In fact, the Dublin Statement during International Conference on Water and Environment in 1992 very categorically stated that water has an economic value in all its competing uses and should be recognized as an economic good. So there was a lot of debate during consultation process, and I am happy to share that when we organize interaction meeting with the Panchayati Raj institutions, that is the lowest level political functionary, with the cabinet minister, the highest level political functionary, and then the prime minister, a distinct message was there which Panchayati Raj representative, Mukhias and others brought out, that it is the poor who wants water. Comes to pricing part of it, they won't mind pricing because actually they are paying much more in effective terms, in terms of the health cost, the excess cost, and other things. They gave a very good example during the thing. And based on the interaction which is there, water pricing is a politically very sensitive issue, but still, because of those interactions, the Government of India accepted the chapter on water pricing in National Water Policy, and which gave that water should be priced adequately. A mechanism was also suggested of setting up a water regulatory authority on volumetric basis to ensure, and the objective was efficient use and reward conservation. We must focus and ensure through pricing its efficient use and reward the water conservation. The preemptive uses were defined, drinking and sustenance agriculture, and thereafter, in line with the Dublin Statement, it was very categorically recorded that water should increasingly be subjected to allocation and pricing on economic principle. Naturally, it is a public good, so the users must have a better say, and that's why the policy emphasized on setting up a water user association and giving them statutory powers, even collecting the water charges also, because that gives them the ownership issue, and they will ensure that the distribution center and allocation is made very optimally. The groundwater is overdrawn, and that factor was taken into account, and it was primarily driven by the kind of free electricity for the groundwater. Many of the states gave it because of political considerations, but we are slightly over exploiting groundwater and we are paying the price for it also. That's why it was recommended in that policy that overdraw of groundwater should be minimized and we should focus on better management of surface water. That is the concept of economic aspect of the word valuing water. But when you look at the theme of this World Water Day, it is basically 5 major principles are there in this theme. The first is recognizing water's multiple values. In fact, the campaign which you see in this World Water Day was what is water means to you. So water has got many values. It's not only for drinking, hydropower, irrigation, but also for our socio-cultural and religious significance. We must recognize those values and respect that. The building of the trust is the second aspect, that when we value water, we have to repose trust in the usage and maintenance of the water resources. We have to protect the sources. The education and empowerment is key to valuing the water, and that must be focused on. And ultimately, we need to invest and innovate in water resources so we get the maximum of our this limited resource water resources. Describing those details in this part, if you see what does the valuing water will mean to me, the valuing water resources, the first aspect, respect the sources. We must value the water sources and the ecosystem upon which they depend. And this directly focuses on the river rejuvenation, and that is why the focus of the present government was, earlier it was called only the Ministry of Water Resources or Department of Water Resources. They added the word rejuvenation. Of course, Ganga is our largest river system, so it was used included in the name of the ministry, and the ministry's name changed to Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. So rejuvenation and development, river development was added to give emphasis to these two aspects of the water resources management. The second is valuing water infrastructure. Whatever the water infrastructure we have in our country or in our society for water storage, use, reuse, or even supply augmentation also should be respected. And for that matter, the present government has already involved dam safety and rehabilitation, the project called DRIP, Dam Rehabilitation and Improvement Project. The first phase is nearing over in March 2000. Now another 10 days it will be over. And before its completion, the phase 2 and phase 3 has already been started. So it is DRIP will come to us again in its second phase and third phase. The World Bank has already agreed for it, and it is in the procedural process of finalization of the MOU, and then that project also would take off. The third aspect of valuing water is valuing water services. Mainly drinking water, sanitation must be respected, and human health aspects is linked to it, and that is why we need to focus on that also. In fact, the present government focus on Jal Jeevan Mission, which our Honorable Prime Minister has made and today launched also, is focusing on valuing water. Even during Corona time also, you must have seen that how much water is important. Washing of hand was the key to maintaining hygiene and protecting ourselves from the Corona, and that must be kept in mind when we think of the water resources and its value. The lastly, for which we are mostly connected also, is water is a resource, as an input to production and socio-economic activity. So this must be recognized as a resource for our civilization and growth, and everything like food and agriculture. I talked about water, food, energy nexus. Agriculture certainly depends on it, need not be elaborated. Business and employment, everything depends. In fact, the civilization grows only on the water resources. So every aspects of our civilization depends on it. And along with that, socio-cultural values of water, including recreational, cultural and spiritual attributes, must be considered while we consider the value of water. And lastly, we must think of valuing water professionals also. As in the Corona times, we had seen Corona warrior, water warrior also need to become up. And our ministry has come out with the water award scheme also. Every year they get an award. The professionals, district, state governments also, who give good job on the water resources management, and that is what the focus. So valuing water is not only economic pricing or giving attachment to its, but it's the whole sum of the water resources value which has to be there. In fact, Dr. IRI has already said that in our culture, water is very much highly valued. I will just say that water is revered as Devraj Indra. It is not only a god but king of gods. So that is the importance which is attached to the water, and the valuing water is summing up the entire effort if you see. Because when we value water, you will conserve water, that is catch the rain. Today also Honorable Prime Minister has launched this program also, catch the rain where it falls and when it falls. Ultimately, it amounts to augmenting the resources, which is a kind of, as an engineer, I can say supply side management. And another aspect is when you value water, you will judiciously use it. And the triple R, that is reduce, reuse, recycle, need to be implemented. And that is the aspect of demand side management. So the valuing water will cover both the supply side management as well as the demand side management. And we have to consider both these aspects when we value water resources. All of you must be aware that the United Nations has adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals after a lot of deliberation at the intercountry level, even within the society has developed, and water was accepted as a goal 6 of this. But I will come to the next slide, that even though it is one of the goal of 17, but it is central to all the goals. And the prime objective of this goal is ensuring availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. And that is the theme of Jal Jeevan Mission, which has been launched today by our Honorable Prime Minister. And the basic is that still we lack on water resources in drinking water tap and the sanitation aspects. The health is there. If you see, the importance of water in our health has been amply demonstrated in the year gone by during corona pandemic times, when we've seen how much cleaning the water or washing with the hand was considered and given the importance to it is. So water is there. This is one cycle which, if you see, all the 17 goals have been enumerated, and if you see, all are central on the water resources. This is actually, the water is the axle on which the entire goal of sustainable development goal depends on. If you see, the first goal of no poverty directly linked to water and irrigation and the crop productivity, zero hunger also. The health is dependent, as I have just said, in the corona pandemic time, we have realized the importance of water in the health. Quality education is also important. In fact, majority of the time in rural India, still the girl child spend a lot of time in carrying and ferrying water. So if the water is made available to them, that much time and energy is saved, and there could be devoted on the quality education. Linked to it is gender equality also, because water fetching is normally responsibility lies with the womanhood, and in that context, if we make the water available, then the gender equality also gets covered in. Clean water and sanitation is directly linked to it. Then affordable and clean energy, because water is the cheapest source of hydropower generation. We all know about it, and that's why its energy also is affordable and clean. The greenhouse gas will not be there. It's a renewable resource, and we must focus on that. The other also, if you go around, all the things are there. Even the life is also dependent on the water. The life below water, that is in the ocean life or even the river also, the lot of life depends in the river health is in one of the indicator of the river health is the life in the rivers and the ocean. And so water is the key to all these 17 sustainable development goals, and that's why it is the prerequisite for achieving sustainable development goals. I would call it is a way towards achieving the sustainable development goal. In simple terms, if we enumerate it, water is life, and in that terms, progress in nutrition, health, education, work, equality, environment protection, international cooperation are all related to availability and sustainable management of water and universal access of effective system for disposing of our waste. So this is the fundamental of our society, and if we want to have better and sustainable future for all of us in the whole world, then the water is the key. And if we succeed in that, we'll succeed in all. And if we don't succeed, we will never be reaching to anywhere. These are the objectives of Sustainable Development Goal. And if we remain off track to deliver on SDG 6, then the whole 2030 agenda would get jeopardized. And that is the emphasis we must pay. And that's why in this year, the theme valuing water is very much there to bring us and remind us how much important the SDG 6 is there. And timing to that also is that our government has decided Jal Jeevan Mission, and today it has been launched on the occasion of World Water Day. That is like we are on the track, our country is on the track on this thing, and if we remain on track, we would be able to achieve Sustainable Development Goal. Today, in spite of so many development, billions of people still lack access to safe water and sanitation. We have to accept it, and this causes needless deaths, which we can save it because of waterborne disease and other chronic disease also. Corona also, the major protection was from washing the hands and the protection on that, the education opportunity and the productivity aspect. So all these aspects depends on the water resources, and we have to focus on the water resources and its value. At the same time, we must recognize also that demand for water from agriculture and industry as well as domestic use in terms of drinking water is very much increasing. Water pollution and ecosystem degradation are the new challenges which we have to face with it because of the increasing amounts of untreated wastewater is there, and the government has worked on this direction. We are on good progress in Ganga rejuvenation, and other rivers are also, we are taking up the efforts, and with this that untreated wastewater would be addressed too. And all this is happening against the backdrop of climate change. We know climate change is on our doorstep. We have started realizing it, and that is why water resources is very key to it. And we have to keep that consideration also in maintaining and keeping an eye while we value water and manage it. And for that better management of the water resources, we must tackle weak funding. In fact, water resources are not adequately funded. That address has to be taken. Planning, capacity and governance of water and sanitation services has to be given a top priority. The new partnership may be needed because it is not only the government jobs or the industry jobs. So we need to develop a new partnership, what we call as public-private partnership. And we have to involve all stakeholders within and beyond the water and sanitation sectors to address this, because this is the kind of axle to entire sustainable development goal, and we have to focus on this so that once water resources are taken care of, other development would take place. So fundamental issues, balance competing needs, and all these have to act together to get SDG goal number 6 back on track. We have the advantage of new technology, data and smart technology. These must be embraced so that our interventions at the government level, at the individual level can be as effective and as possible, and progress is tracked over time. So that gives us a kind of motivation to move on with the objective is this thing. Summarizing that thing, the takeaways which I feel in this particular aspect and the theme of the World Water Day is that we should learn to value water in a holistic manner, not only for domestic uses, irrigation, hydropower and environment, but other religious and socio-cultural uses as well. So you have to consider water is in a holistic manner, and we have to respect it in a holistic manner from all aspects, not only in terms of pricing, but in terms of making it available to the humankind and to everybody. And in that term, the water has to be treated as a public good, though the Dublin statement says about economic good, but we have to first survive. So that's why the policy of 2012 says that water above the preemptive usage of survival and sustenance agriculture should be on economic principle. And the public good is defined as non-rivalry and non-excludable. So it doesn't mean that if someone is using, the others are denied or deprived of that. It is for all, and everybody should have a fair share of use of and excess of water. And that is what there's a time has come that we need to treat water as public good, and the value of the water should consider the cost of water, making it available to you, and more than the making it available, the opportunity cost of the resource is very important. Water is scarce, it is not uniform, there is a temporal variation, there is a spatial variation. Somewhere we get a very high amount of rainfall, somewhere we don't get it. So the opportunity cost is very important attached to this thing. So all the huge cost of water resources, the opportunity cost has to be taken into account while we think of valuing the water resources. I'm very happy to say that the government policies are aligned to it, but it should be everybody's business. And as our Honorable Prime Minister said, that Jal Andolan has to be made Jan Andolan. And that is very important for all of us to imbibe on this World Water Day. We can take a place that we have to work towards the valuing water and its conservation. And that is what about Jal Shakti Abhiyan and Catch the Rain concept is there, which has been launched today officially, but it has to bring in our culture, our daily routine, and we all can contribute towards it as an individual, as a family, as a society, finally in office, in the government, and in the society or in the country, world community as well. That's all. Water conservation is very important. We need to get serious and smart on this thing. If you have any query or any question, I am always available. I have given my email ID there. So any person, have any queries can approach me, and I will try to best address the concerns on the water resources sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dr. M.K. Sinha Sahab. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to listen to your lecture, and you have covered various facets of creating awareness, making water as a valuable commodity, ecological commodity, economic commodity. Also, covering all the dimensions of water and its association with the nature sector, its association with the man sector or mankind sector, and also the kind of priorities country has set up. It's not only addressing the Sustainable Development Goal number 6 or water for everyone or removing poverty or whatever it is. It's not only the Sustainable Development Goals, but overall for the welfare of the society, for the welfare of human being, animals, mankind, for everyone, and for the betterment of the whole Earth planet, how important water is. Your talk definitely indicates towards that. And also you had made linkages with Atmanirbhar Bharat and the today's initiation of Jal Shakti Abhiyan by Honorable Prime Minister, and the kind of activities which will be addressed during the Jal Shakti Abhiyan in this country, and 5 principles which will be addressed, that also you have elaborately explained. The issue of environmental sustainability, which is a major concern for all the scientific community in this country, not in the country, but whole globally also, this is the major concern to achieve the environmental sustainability. And achieving environmental sustainability without addressing the natural resources and more so the water, it's not possible to see the different dimensions, different paradigms, and address each one of them and attain the environmental sustainability at the highest level. The human development and economic growth, you have taken some of the examples, and this has happened in this country, and water is mainly responsible for these. Even if I talk of the agricultural sector, slowly and slowly we are converting our lands now. Once upon a time, there was a time when hardly country has 20% irrigated and 80% rain-fed areas. slowly and slowly we are moving towards irrigated. Now we have 50% irrigated area and 50% rain-fed area. Within irrigated area, if I see the precision methods or pressurized irrigation methods or precise water application methods, they are taking place. And now the shift is towards micro irrigation. And this is one of the commitment government of India has. The farming community, they are contributing, and the scientific community, agriculture scientists particularly, they are contributing towards the better use of water and efficient use of water. But very important issue, the water pricing, which you try to address, because this is the country where water is available at the rate of 0.00025 paisa per liter to 25 rupees per liter. 10 to the power 7 times difference is there in water pricing. Therefore, water pricing is a sector. Honorable Prime Minister also spoke on this, and he also previously in one of the Mann Ki Baat, he has giving importance to water. He has spoken this. Valuing water, already we have covered 5 principles. Those are very, very important pillars of life, living, and livelihood. To talk of life, living, and livelihood, these principles are guiding force and guiding principles, and that also not only ensure the sustainability of agriculture sector, but whole ecosystem as a whole. Achieving this SDG 6 or Sustainable Development Goals number 6 by 2030, achieving some other associated objectives like achieving land degradation neutrality by 2030, and keeping pace with the other international commitment by India. It would be very, very important for India to take to consider water sector as the most important sector and create ample awareness about the water's use and best use of water in all sectors, not only agriculture. The water quality, which is very important, the specific iron toxicities happening in some places, arsenic toxicity or boron toxicity, some places fluoride toxicity. These are some of the threat to the human society. And therefore, today's Honorable Prime Minister's message and take-away messages from that also you have amply described. And overall, this was a wonderful and scintillating lecture. I'm pretty sure that all the participants, they are immensely benefited from your lecture. And thank you very much for covering whole arena and complexities of water sector. Water sector is very, very complex. It has linkages with other sectors. Sometimes we call them collaborations, sometimes linkages, sometimes nexus, because dimensions are varying. If you stop एक को मनाओ तो दूसरा रूठ जाता है. This kind of arrangement is there, and therefore we need to understand these complexities and convert these complexities into opportunities and convert these opportunities into achievement. So this is the ultimate goal, and it was a great justice you made with the today's World Water Day presentation by IRI, and thank you very much. And once again, on behalf of the organizers and on my own behalf, I request everyone to give a big applause to Dr. M.K. Sinha for covering a big gamut of the water sector. Thank you so much, Dr. Sinha. Thanks a lot. Now over to you, organizers.
चेयरमैन सर, आपकी अनुमति से मैं आभार निवेदन करना चाहूंगा।
चलिए, मान सिंह जी।
इस व्याख्यान सत्र के अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर एस.के. चौधरी जी, मेजबान और निदेशक डॉक्टर अशोक कुमार सिंह जी और आज के मुख्य आकर्षण डॉक्टर मुकेश कुमार सिन्हा जी, वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म से जुड़े संस्थान के डीन एवं संयुक्त निदेशक डॉक्टर रश्मि अग्रवाल जी, संयुक्त निदेशक प्रसार डॉक्टर बी.एस. तोमर जी, सभी स्कूल के कोऑर्डिनेटर्स, संभागाध्यक्ष, पीजी स्कूल से संबद्ध सभी प्रोफेसर गण, वैज्ञानिक गण, विद्यार्थी और शोधार्थी, आप सभी को मेरा आदर पूर्वक अभिनंदन और वंदन। आभार निवेदन के लिए आप सभी प्रबुद्ध शिक्षाविदों, वैज्ञानिकों, विद्यार्थियों के समक्ष उपस्थित हूं। इस कार्य का दायित्व निदेशक महोदय ने मुझे दिया है, जिसे मैं इस अवसर को मैं अपना सौभाग्य समझता हूं। लगभग करीब 45 मिनट से हम सभी ज्ञानधारक के रूप में इस व्याख्यान में उपस्थित रहे। करीब 100 की स्ट्रेंथ है, लगभग 100 लोग जुड़े रहे, कुछ लोग YouTube से भी जुड़े हुए हैं। सभी ने एकाग्र चित्त से सुना है। इसका कारण आज के प्रमुख अतिथि आदरणीय डॉक्टर मुकेश कुमार सिन्हा के प्रभावशाली व्याख्यान ने हमें सतत आकर्षित किए रखा। सिन्हा सर, आपके शब्दों, तथ्यों, तत्वों और तर्कों ने हम लोगों का बखूबी वाटर सेक्टर में ज्ञानवर्धन किया है। आप जैसे प्रतिभा संपन्न वाटर इंजीनियर को आमंत्रित करने का मौका जिन्होंने दिया है, वे हैं एक विश्वविख्यात कृषि वैज्ञानिक और इस संस्थान के निदेशक डॉक्टर अशोक कुमार सिंह जी। हम उनका भी आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। इस निर्णय में बहुत जल्दी से निदेशक महोदय ने आपके नाम को चुना, जो आज जैसा चेयरमैन साहब ने कहा, आपने उसके साथ पूरा जस्टिफिकेशन दिया है। आपका भाषण बहुत ही प्रभावशाली रहा है। इस सिलसिले में आगे बताना चाहेंगे कि डॉक्टर एसके चौधरी जी भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान परिषद का जो प्राकृतिक संसाधन प्रबंधन से जुड़ा संभाग है, उस मुख्यालय में आप उसके वरिष्ठतम अधिकारी हैं जिन्होंने इस सत्र की अध्यक्षता की है। आपने बहुत बड़ा उपकार किया है चौधरी सर, समय निकालकर आपने इस व्याख्यान सत्र में अपना समय दिया और इससे इस व्याख्यान सत्र की औकात को आपने बढ़ा दिया है। डॉक्टर चौधरी सर, IARI आपका ऋणी रहेगा। आपका सहयोग और समर्थन हमेशा IARI को मिलता रहा है, आज भी आपने भरपूर दिया है, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। इस व्याख्यान के आयोजन में निदेशक महोदय ने कार्यक्रम की विधिवत रूपरेखा निर्मित कर उचित नियोजन से मार्गदर्शन किया। इसमें इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी और कंप्यूटर सपोर्ट की टीम, जिसमें डॉक्टर राजर्षि राय बर्मन, श्री मनीष, श्री पुरी, श्री सुभाष आदि की सेवाओं के लिए भी हम बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं। शुरुआत में हमारे जल प्रौद्योगिकी केंद्र के सहयोगी डॉक्टर रविंदर कौर जी, डॉक्टर मनोज खन्ना जी, डॉक्टर प्रोफेसर DK सिंह ने अपना बौद्धिक योगदान दिया था, जिसके लिए भी उनका भी धन्यवाद। डॉक्टर शालू, डॉक्टर लौ कुमार का फ्लायर डिजाइन करने में योगदान उल्लेखनीय है, उनको भी हम धन्यवाद देते हैं। नभ से टपकने वाली पानी की बूंद अमृत के समान है। आइए इसकी हिफाजत करने का संकल्प लें। गगन से चलकर जो वर्षा जल आता है वह हम सबका अतिथि है, मेहमान है, उसका सत्कार करें। ऐसा करने से भावी पीढ़ी का हम पर जल संसाधन की उधारी नहीं रहेगी। अब हम सब सभा अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर चौधरी और निदेशक डॉक्टर AK सिंह की अनुमति लेकर अपनी तालियों की बरसात से डॉक्टर सिन्हा समेत सभी श्रोताओं का एक बार पुनः अभिनंदन करें। इस व्याख्यान की सफलता आप जैसे ढेर प्रबुद्ध श्रोताओं की उपस्थिति से हुई है, अतः हम सभी के बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं। वैल्यूइंग वाटर की गूंज, इसका संदेश देश भर में फैलेगा, ऐसी हम आशा करते हैं। जितने भी प्रबुद्ध लोग इससे जुड़े रहे हैं, आज के बाद हम लोग 75 सप्ताह 15 अगस्त 2022 तक वैल्यूइंग वाटर का चर्चा करते रहेंगे, लोगों में प्रसार करते रहेंगे। एक बार हम पुनः सभी को धन्यवाद देते हैं और अध्यक्ष महोदय की अनुमति से अपनी वाणी को विराम लगाते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Dr. Man Singh. Thanks to you a lot for organizing the whole program so beautifully and identifying Dr. Sinha for this presentation.